Her voice was measured, practiced, like she'd rehearsed it in the mirror. I want a prenup. We were sitting across from each other at the marble kitchen island, white wine untouched. Her tone was too calm for what she was saying, too corporate. I stared at her, just long enough to make her uncomfortable. Then I nodded once. Smart thinking. That was the moment the balance shifted. She didn't see it, of course. She thought she was protecting herself, future-proofing, as if marriage were a risk portfolio. She smiled, faintly relieved that I'd agreed. I watched the corners of her mouth twitch, the way relief blended with subtle triumph. That micro-expression people show when they believe they've outmaneuvered someone. But I wasn't outmaneuvered. I was taking notes. She excused herself soon after, claiming a late-night strategy call. I listened to the faint hum of her voice from the study. The softness in her tone wasn't her work voice. That was her him voice. And just like that, the wine tasted like ash. The next morning, she kissed me on the cheek, light, distracted, and left in her black Range Rover. Her perfume lingered long after she was gone. Too much of it. It wasn't for me. I sat at the table staring at the spot she'd been standing. My mind began to catalog. Times, patterns, gaps. Every Thursday night she worked late. Every Friday she returned home with that faint exhaustion, the kind that doesn't come from work. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was projecting. But denial is just a polite word for waiting to be proven wrong. The prenup was supposed to be a formality, her idea of security. But what she really wanted was protection, not of assets, of her image. And if she was already preparing for an ending before we'd even begun, then maybe she'd already started living it somewhere else. I didn't confront her. I smiled, I kissed her forehead, I played my role like an actor too tired to forget his lines. But behind the stillness, I began planning. I called my lawyer first, a quiet man with a quiet office, the kind of man who didn't ask questions. I want a prenup, I told him. Protect everything. He raised an eyebrow. Everything? Yes, I said, everything I've built. Every share. Every patent. Every account she doesn't know exists. I signed the papers the next day. Then I started watching her more closely. Phone records, GPS logs, bank statements, little inconsistencies that spoke louder than her words. She wasn't careless. She was confident. Confident I wouldn't look. When she spoke about her week, I'd ask small questions. How was the meeting? She'd smile. Exhausting. But the company she mentioned had no record of that meeting. No calendar invites. No follow-up emails. And when she came home late that Thursday, makeup smudged just enough to look natural, she slipped into bed without a word. Her hand brushed mine, and I felt it. A tremor. Guilt pretending to be fatigue. I stared at the ceiling and waited for sleep that never came. The next morning, I sent a single message to a private investigator I knew from before the marriage. Follow her. 3 days later, he sent me a photo. Her. In a hotel lobby. Laughing into the chest of a man I'd met once. Her company's financial advisor. Her hand on his wrist. His tie loosened. The timestamp was precise. Thursday, 9:17 p.m. My pulse didn't rise. My breath didn't change. I simply saved the image in a locked folder and closed my phone. Silence became my weapon. The day we met to sign the prenup, she looked radiant, power-suited, composed. Her lawyer sat beside her, oozing professional detachment. Mine sat quietly across the table, papers neatly stacked. I watched her skim the document, expecting leverage, expecting to protect what she thought was hers. Then, her smile faltered. Her lawyer leaned in, whispering. His tone shifted, first confusion, then disbelief. Finally, he looked at me. "Mr. Hale, this contract secures all existing assets under your ownership. There's nothing here for her." Her head snapped toward him. Then to me. "What do you mean?" I didn't answer. I just met her gaze, calm, steady, unreadable. He continued, "It appears your husband's holdings far exceed yours, significantly. The clause structure prevents joint claim on any premarital property." Her hand trembled. "You're saying that everything he owns stays his." I leaned back, voice soft. "You said you didn't want to risk your future on me. I made sure you won't have to." The silence that followed was surgical. We were alone after the lawyers left. She stood by the window, eyes wide but dry, always too proud to cry. "You knew?" she whispered. I took my time answering. "Knew what?" She turned, voice breaking. "About him." I smiled faintly. "I know about a lot of things." Her composure cracked then, tiny fractures across the face she'd built like a brand. She tried to speak, to justify, but the words died in her throat.